Any real estate triggers probate
Any real estate.
in Utah. Okay. Wow. Even if you own this like little piece of a little sliver.
I always said, look, work with your attorney, and if you don't want to drop 10 grand, then say, hey, I'll be in your office every Friday to pay $800.
Mhm.
And you just show up and you just deposit the $800, and two things happen there. One, you're not putting it all up front, but two, the attorney's seeing you every Friday, and guess what? You're top of mind on their case agenda, and they're working on you.
Bingo.
So if they don't see you for 3 months, sometimes it's easy for them to not think about your case as much. I mean, we have our own systems and whatnot, but it's just a little tip to keep top of mind with the attorney.
That's great. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? I mean, we tell people that all the time. The quicker you can get your stuff to the attorney and the better you communicate with that attorney, the faster your case will probably get done, right? Because we're all busy. And, you just gotta think in those terms. So
Absolutely.
if someone can't afford probate, which we deal with this a lot, right? Some people that maybe don't have a lot of money, they need to sell mom's estate or whatever. Are there ways that they can alleviate that cost a little bit, or kind of maybe pay later after the fact, like maybe a lien secured against the estate or something? Can you do that in Utah or Missouri? Is that a thing?
So typically not interested in that. Whether you can or not, it's just additional time, and it's going to be even more expensive to do something like that
Yes.
to have that secured credit. But there's so many ways. I mean, number one, just talk with the attorney. Maybe they have a plan. Maybe they take Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Maybe there's so many like SaaS programs out there that you can that do third-party lending, and there's a lot of ways. I mean, I just talked with someone the other day that she buys houses, kind of like you, and she's like, I'll pay for their probate.
Oh yeah.
I'll pay the money if I can have a contract to buy the house.
Yep.
And so they work things out that way. Lots of the worst thing to do is to think that there is no option and not to talk to an attorney.
Absolutely.
The attorney sees it all the time, and they're like, "Oh, you could talk to this person, or we could have this option, or we can figure something out."
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. We do the same thing. I've paid for many people's probates, kind of advance the money, and just agreed to get paid on the backside. Now I have gotten burned by that before. I've had people that did that and then went behind my back and sold it to someone else, and I've lost thousands of dollars. And that's a risk that comes along with it. Not everyone in this world is honest, unfortunately, but it happens. But yeah, I mean, there are ways to get your probate done. Like, don't think, because so many people just bury their head in the sand and they don't do it. We've had families come to us that want to sell an estate, and it's like 3 generations that they haven't probated, and now it costs more money and time and effort to get this done. So don't bury your head in the sand. Get it done for sure. So in Utah, are there ways for heirs to like sell a house outside of probate, or that some states have kind of exceptions, like there's like affidavits of heirship, that sort of thing. We have something similar in Georgia called an affidavit of descent, and there's some guidelines behind that. Does Utah have something similar like that? If they, if they only have a house, they don't have anything else in the estate, is there?
So not really. The issue that you run in with real estate is you're working with two separate bodies of law. You're working with probate law, excuse me, and you're working with real estate law. And you can sell the house at any time, but you can't transfer title without the authority. And so, like, it's just gonna sit in escrow anyways, because the title company can't issue a clean deed. Because you don't have the authority from the court yet. And so that's the problem that people run into. And in Utah, the trigger for probate is any real estate and or cumulative of 100,000 or more in profit. So, if we're under that, if it's just a car, yeah, we can file a small estate affidavit and get the car transferred and get, things that way taken care of. But we do, it's an authority question rather than an ownership question.
I gotcha. Yeah, and a lot of states do have the small estates. I had last week, I had some attorneys from Arizona on. They have something similar, And I think in Arizona too, it's also 100,000, right? The cumulative value of all the assets can't exceed 100,000. And if they do, then you've got to, do the full blown probate, right? So,
But if you have a shack with a deed, then that's going to trigger a probate.
right. So any real estate triggers probate
Any real estate.
in Utah. Okay. Wow. Even if you own this like little piece of a little sliver.